Namaste yogis. Welcome to your practice. Today I'm going to guide you through a Vinyasa Flow class that is called Yoga for Pitta season. And this is a perfect class to do during the hot summer months. Some of you might be asking, what does Pitta mean? And I'm going to tell you. So Pitta is an Ayurvedic term. Ayurveda, if you're not familiar with it, is the word Ayurveda translates to the knowledge of life. And it's an ancient science or wisdom that focuses on a more holistic approach to our own health and well-being. And it incorporates movement practices, breathing practices, food, what we eat, our environment, the things that we place on our skin, all these things come into play with Ayurveda. And, Ayurveda, a lot of Ayurveda focuses on the 5 elements. They believe that everything in nature and in life has one or more combination of these five elements, which includes fire, water, earth, air, and ether. And people are usually born, and a lot of it depends also on your environment, but we're born into a constitution or dosha. And dosha, I'm going to read this because this is a beautiful definition of what a dosha is. A dosha are energies believed to circulate in the body and govern our physiological activity. And there are 3 main doshas. There's one called Vata, one called Kapha, and then the one that we're focusing on today is Pitta. And these 3 doshas are kind of these different combinations of the 5 elements. So Pitta dosha is the combination of fire and water, and it's mostly fire with just some water. So people have 1, 2, or 3 doshas governing their bodies and their systems. And there's all sorts of tests that you can take online what your dosha is. It's important not to get too attached to these things though, because your doshas can change with the seasons, what time of the year it is, your life cycle as well, the time of the month, the time of the, how old you are, your different environment and things like this. But for the most part, we have something that dominates our system. And Pitta is dominated by fire and water. So people with predominantly Pitta doshas tend to be kind of medium build, athletic. They tend to have a kind of a quick kind of mind. They're fast learners. They can be a little bit intense even. They're great leaders. They're athletic. So think of those athletes that you see that just go. Those tend to be Pitta types. They have great digestion when the Pitta dosha is in balance. Here's the thing that happens according to Ayurveda. Our dosha can go out of balance all the time, and a lot of that happens during the different seasons. So if you have a lot of Pitta, say you did one of these Ayurvedic tests and you learned that you have a lot of Pitta in your system, you might start to see things happening during the summer because your Pitta is elevated. There's too much heat. There's too much fire. So some examples of having an escalated Pitta, digestive issues, red blotchy skin or even acne, burning skin. You just get hot very easily or sweat a lot. There's other things that can happen too. Your temper can flare up. You can kind of react to things a little more aggressively. You can get angry. So if you sense these things happening to you during the summer, and I know that I do, I have my dosha is very high in Pitta, especially during the summer months. I find that I get just my temper flares during the summer. I get hot, I get fiery. So what I want to do when that happens is I want to cool down, not just physically, but energetically as well. So, I do little tweaks to my diet. We're not going to talk really about that here. We're going to focus more on the physical practice. My physical practice is definitely a little more grounding and calming and cooling even. So I'm not going to go to a super hot, heated class. I'm not going to do 8 million sun salutations. And I'm going to give myself enough time, especially at the end, to cool down. This is not going to be like a super gentle class. It's going to be a strong class. We're going to work on some standing postures and we're going to build strength. But the idea is to hold the poses a little bit and just to kind of get a little more quiet and even to get a little softer. It's important during Pitta season, when it's super hot, if you have a lot of Pitta in you, to be softer and gentler and even more playful just in general in life. So that's what we're going to do today. That's going to be primarily the goal of the practice, is to cool down the Pitta in your energy, in your environment. You don't necessarily have to have a Pitta dosha to appreciate this practice during the summer months. Mostly everybody's Pitta goes up during the summer. So it's just nice, especially, this time of year when it's very hot outside, to cool down. So without further ado, let's begin. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to reach out to me. I'll send my information in the notes. For this practice, I am going to recommend having a couple of blocks. We're going to do a lot of forward folds and perhaps a blanket for some seated postures and a shoulder stand option at the end. Okay? So for now, set your blanket over to the side and place your blocks near the front of your mat. Whatever the front of your mat is, just set the blocks near the front of your mat and begin in child's pose. So come onto your hands and your knees and separate your knees a little bit. Bring your big toes together to touch. Send the hips towards your heels and just let your arms relax. Let your forehead relax and close your eyes. Good. And just take a few moments here. Nice soothing breaths in and out through your nose. Good. And as you breathe in and out through the nose, feel the breath traveling into the nose and then out of the nose. And just allow your body to get real soft for a few moments. You feel the space around you, even the feeling of the clothing on your skin. Good. And maybe where you are, you can feel like a little breeze on your skin too, nice cooling breeze. And if not, you can imagine that. Just take a few more slow breaths here, continuing to shift the hips towards your heels and just letting your chest drop. Now stay in your child's pose for a moment, but stretch your arms forward a little bit more and see if you can straighten your arms, spread your fingers, grip the mat with your knuckles and your fingertips. Good. Now press the hands into the mat, come into a tabletop position. And then once you're in the tabletop position, you can bring the knees a little closer together, bring your hands under the shoulders, spread your fingers nice and wide. And let's move through cat and cow just a few times. So next inhale, lift your chin, lift your sitting bones, let your belly drop. And exhale, round your back. Let your head relax. Press the mat away. Good. And then really moving with the breath. So nice and slow. Inhale, lengthen the sternum forward. Send the pubic bone back. And exhale, round. Doming the upper back. Tuck the tail. Good. And then last time like that. So inhale, deep breath in. And exhale, long breath out. Now come back to a neutral spine. So you're not rounding or arching. Good. And then slight lift through the lower belly, so really engage your core here. Keep your left knee on the floor, stretch your right leg back, and lift your right leg off the floor. Good. And see if you can turn the right foot to point down, so the foot is flexed and the leg is neutral. Now keep your right hand under your shoulder, take your left arm forward now. So it's a two-legged tabletop position, and just get as long as you can. Turn the palm of your left hand in, and keep looking at the floor to help you balance. Take another inhale. Now as you exhale, place your left hand and your right knee on the floor. Good. Now reset. Continue to lift through the lower belly. And let's do the second side. So take your left leg back and float the leg off the floor. Doesn't have to be very high, just high enough that you feel the hamstrings a little bit. Slide the frontal hip bones forward, lift your side waist, and then extend the right arm towards the front of your space. And as you extend the right arm, turn the palm in like you're going to shake someone's hand and continue to lift up through the front ribs. Stretch even longer. Big inhale. Good. Now gently lower the hand and the knee to the floor. Now we're going to alternate moving with the breath. On your inhale, extend the right leg and the left arm. Keep strong lift through the lower belly. Exhale, place hand and knee on the floor. Inhale, extend left leg and right arm. Keep the eyes focused. Exhale, hand and knee to the floor. Inhale, extend right leg, left arm. Exhale, lower everything down. Inhale, extend left leg and right arm. Exhale and lower. One more on each side. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Flex your right foot if you can. And then exhale, lower. Inhale, left leg, right arm. And then exhale, hands to the mat. Good. Now move your hands about an inch in front of you. Spread your fingers wide. Tuck your toes. Make your way into downward facing dog. And then once you find your down dog, let your head drop so you're looking at the floor between your feet. And separate the feet hips distance or wider. And then bend and straighten your legs. You can do both at the same time. Some of us like to alternate. Bend one knee, straighten the other, and switch. Just kind of let yourself move a little bit until you feel a little more settled and comfortable. And then eventually find stillness in the pose. So if you can work the legs straight, press the heels of the feet to the floor as you lift the hips up and move the tops of your thighs back. And then at the same time, draw your navel towards your spine, ground through your inner hands, and work the inner arms forward slightly so you feel widening along the shoulder blades and your collarbone. Good. And just take a few more deep breaths, feeling the floor beneath you, but at the same time feeling a buoyancy, a lift in the hips. Okay. Now keep your feet at the back of your mat. Just walk your hands towards your feet, coming into a forward fold. Now bend the knees enough that you can actually touch the floor with your hands. And again, let the head drop so the crown of the head reaches to the floor. Stay here with the fingers down or take a hold of opposite elbows. Good. And then just like in down dog, the feet are still hips distance and parallel. And gently lean forward just a little bit. You can keep the knees bent. Some of us can work the legs a little straighter, lifting up through the quadricep muscles. All right. Now stay in the forward fold. Good. Release your elbows and bring your hands to your hips. Now point the elbows straight up. Bend your knees a little bit more and gently roll up to stand one vertebrae at a time. All right. And then once you're standing, take a walk to the front of your mat and make your way into mountain pose. So feet firmly planted. Feet can be hips distance or together. Let your arms rest by your sides and rotate your arms so the palms of your hands face forward. Just stand nice and tall. Draw the navel back. Press the feet into the floor. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And see if you can look towards your hands. Now as you exhale, with a flat back, fold forward. Bring your hands to the floor. Inhale, lengthen your spine. So reach your sternum away from your navel. Fingertips down or hands to shin bones. Exhale and just fold once again. Let your head and your neck relax. Press the feet down. Inhale, stand up. So ground as you rise. Reach the arms overhead. Exhale, arms by your sides, mountain pose. Inhale, reach the arms up again. Look up if you can. Exhale and fold forward. Slow, steady breath out. Let the head and the neck relax. Now keep the leg long as you inhale, flat back. So chest reaches forward. Exhale and fold again. Let the head relax. Press the feet down. Inhale, stand up. So take the arms with you. Really reach. Exhale, bring your arms by your sides. Adding to that, inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale and fold forward. Slow breath out. Inhale, lengthen your spine. So chest forward, slide the shoulders away from your ears. Now bring your hands to the floor and step your right foot to the back of your mat. So you're in a long runner's lunge. Lower your right knee all the way down. And then point the right foot. Now from there, slowly take both arms up towards the ceiling. So just a low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, bring the hands down, tuck your back toes, and lift your back knee. Now step your feet into plank position, left foot next to right foot. Pause in the plank, look forward. And then from there, slide forward a bit. You can drop the knees if you need, bend the elbows, and lower to your belly. So come all the way to the floor. Now point your feet. Press the hands down, inhale to an easy cobra. So lift your chest up, shoulders slide down your back. And then as you exhale, lower down, tuck your toes, and make your way into downward facing dog. You can press through hands and knees or plank. Now from your down dog, inhale, float your right leg straight up towards the ceiling. So lift it straight up if you can. Exhale, step your right foot in between your hands and lower your back knee, point your back toes. Now ground through the front heel. Inhale, stretch both arms up. Draw the belly back as you lift. Exhale, hands to the floor. Tuck your back toes and lift your back knee. Look forward. Now inhale, step to the front of your mat and lengthen your spine at the same time. Reach the heart forward. Exhale and bend forward. Uttanasana. Press the feet down, inhale, come up to stand. Take the arms overhead, big inhale. Exhale, arms by your sides, mountain pose. Inhale, reach the arms up. So leading with the left leg. Exhale, bring the hands to the floor and fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine, chest forward, slide the shoulders down your back. Now bring the hands to the floor again, step your left foot back and lower your left knee down. Point your left toes. Ground through the heel, inhale, arms lift, square your hips and draw the navel in as you stretch back. Exhale, hands to the mat, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Inhale, plank pose, right foot next to left foot. Exhale, chaturanga. Again, always option to place the knees on the floor. Upward facing dog, unless you prefer cobra. Shoulders pull back. Exhale, tuck your toes and make your way to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg slowly towards the ceiling, so straight up if you can. Exhale, place your left foot forward between your hands and drop your back knee, point your back toes. From there, inhale, reach both arms all the way up, big inhale. Exhale, place the hands on the floor, tuck your back toes and lift your back knee. Look forward. Inhale, step to the front of your mat and lengthen your spine again. Chest forward. Exhale and fold. Inhale, stand up. So press the feet down, stretch the arms towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring your arms by your sides. Mountain pose. Sun salutation A. Inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky. Good. Lift out of your waist. Now exhale, bend forward again. Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen Ardha Uttanasana. Good. Step to plank or jump to chaturanga. If you're choosing to step to plank, lower slowly. Inhale, up dog or cobra pose. Thighs lift in the up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. And a nice long exhale out. Inhale, lift your heels. Look forward, bend the knees. Hop, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine again. Exhale and fold. Inhale, stand up. Press the feet down, stretch the arms all the way up. Exhale, arms by your side. We'll do one more and then we'll move on. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale and fold forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or hop, chaturanga. I'm choosing to step back. It's just a little more cooling for me. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a nice slow inhale. Try to keep your eyes focused. But soft gaze. Exhale. Inhale, lift your heels. Looking forward, bend the knees, step or jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back, lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale, ground to rise, arms reach up. Good, and then bring your arms by your sides. Now pause. And you might be wondering, why are we doing sun salutations, right? Aren't sun salutations heating? Well, if you tend to be more of a Pitta type, you like to move, right? So this kind of gets it out of your system. That way, when we start to move into more of the cooling postures, you feel a little more settled. So let's set up for tree pose. Start with your left foot on the floor. I'm going to face the camera and turn the right knee and foot to the right. Now from there, slide your right foot below the knee or grab your ankle and place your right foot towards your left inner thigh. And then as you press the foot and the leg into one another, keep your hip bones pointing forward and then allow the right knee to open to the right as any amount. Doesn't have to be complete to the right. Now bring the hands together in front of the heart and then ground through your standing foot as you lift up through the chest. Good. Now stay here or open the arms out to the sides. Rotate the palms of your hands up and then stretch the fingers towards the ceiling. And just take a few moments here. Again, try not to be too rigid with this pose. So it's important to soften, especially if you're Pitta. Some of us start to take the eyes a little bit higher towards the ceiling, playing with your balance. If you fall, that's okay. All right, big inhale. Now bring your hands together in front of the heart again. Good, and just point the right knee forward. Place the right foot on the floor. Good. Let your arms relax. Pause, breathe in. And exhale. Okay, let's do the second side. So keep the right foot grounded. Point the left knee and toes to the left. And then same thing, slide the foot below the knee or above the knee. You can use a wall if that helps with balance. Good. And then the same thing, point your left toes straight down and press the heel of your left foot into the right inner thigh and vice versa. That's it. Now slide the left buttocks down, lift your hip bones up, bring the hands together in front of your chest. That's it. Keep the collarbone nice and wide, lift up through your sternum, and then see if you can float the arms out once again. That's it. And as you extend the arms out, turn the palms of your hands up, and then stretch the fingers towards the ceiling. Good. And really try to lift up out of your waist. So grow your torso, but at the same time, keep grounding through that standing foot. If it feels okay, start to take the eyes upwards. Maybe a little smile. Sometimes that helps soften things. Big breath in. All right, now bring the hands together in front of the heart. Whoop, point your left knee forward. And then place the left foot on the floor. Well done. Let your arms relax. Good. Now, if you're not already, step to the middle of your mat and step your feet wide apart on your sticky mat. So your feet are fairly wide. Good. Slide your outer ankles, or slide your heels wider so your feet are even slightly pigeon-toed. And then place your hands on the hips. Now point the elbows straight back, drop the shoulders, and lift up through the crown of your head. Big breath here. And then with a flat back, start to fold. Now once you fold, bring your hands on the floor or use your blocks under the shoulders. Straighten your arms for an inhale. And then as you exhale, walk your hands back a bit and fold a little bit deeper. Release the top of your head to the floor. Firm your forearms in and lift the shoulders as you lean forward. Hug the outer legs in, lift your quadricep muscles up. Good. And just breathe here for a few more breaths. If you can't get the head to the floor, but it's pretty close, try using a block under the head. So again, that's a very cooling sensation to let the head rest without actually being in a headstand. All right. Now walk your hands back under your shoulders. On your inhale, straighten your elbows and lengthen. Now keep the flat back. Bring the hands to the hips. Press the feet into the floor. Inhale, stand up. All right. Now turn the right knee and foot to the right and angle your left toes a little bit in. And I'm going to go ahead and reach for a block and have the block near the right foot. So we're setting up for triangle pose. Take your arms out to the sides. Big breath here. Now as you exhale, tip the right hip forward and lower the hand to a block, shin bone, ankle, or the floor. Take your left arm and reach it up towards the ceiling. That's it. Now press the front inner foot into the mat, but roll the front inner thigh forward. And then lengthen the bottom waist as you lean the top shoulder back. Good. Try to draw the belly muscles in. Lean your chest back a little bit. Good. Now let's add a lateral stretch here. Turn the palm of your left hand forward, the top arm, and extend the fingers overhead. So reach the fingers forward and continue to ground through the back foot. Yeah. And keep working the front inner leg forward, but continue to press the inner front foot into the floor. All right, you can look up if you'd like. Now from there, inhale, reach your left arm up. Then ground through the feet, come back to stand. So arms out. Good. And we're going to switch sides. So turn the right knee and toes in. Point your left knee and toes to the left. Good. Widen the feet or close the feet a little more if you need. Arms out as you inhale. And then exhale, triangle pose on the second side. Good. Now if you have your hand on your shin bone, just try to press your shin bone up into the hand as well, so you're not jamming the left knee locked. Otherwise, use a block. It's so nice. Take the right arm up towards the ceiling. Yeah. Now, just like in any standing pose, grow your torso out of the waist. So the left and right waist lengthen. And this is an actual open twist. So lean the top shoulder back and pull the belly in. If it feels okay, lean the head back and look up. Now turn the palm of the right hand forward and stretch the fingers overhead. Yeah, and as you reach, continue to press the right foot down so you feel more length along the right side. Feel that sense of traction. Feels good. All right, from there, inhale, take the right arm up. Now come back to stand, so you can leave the block where it is. Parallel your feet again. Now bring your hands behind your back, interlace the fingers, stretch your knuckles towards the floor, lift up through your chest. And then as you exhale, start to fold forward for Prasarita Padottanasana C, or just this wide-legged variation with the shoulder stretch. Yeah. Now if you can, lean forward some. Don't grip the toes to the floor. And keep hugging the outer legs in, like you're holding something between your thighs. Good. And like in any forward fold, let the head just drop so the neck is long. All right, inhale. And exhale, place the hands on the floor. Inhale, straighten your elbows and lengthen. Now keeping this flat back, bring the hands to the hips again. Press the feet into the floor and inhale, slowly come up to stand. All right, start to heel toe your feet together and then step the rest of the way. All right, let your arms relax. And let's come back to the top of your mat. I'm gonna turn around so I'm facing the other side, but come back to the top of your mat. Have your blocks near the front of your mat. And then come back to mountain pose. Let the arms relax. Good. Legs all the way together or hips distance. Press the feet down. Inhale, stretch both arms up towards the ceiling. Look up. Exhale, bend and fold forward. So I like to bend the knees a little bit after that. Inhale, lengthen your spine. So flat back. Good. Bring the hands to the floor. Step to plank or hop to chaturanga. Watch those shoulders as you lower. Point your feet. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale, lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, come to warrior two, just for a moment. So press the back foot flat to the mat, open the arms out to the side. This is a little more of a heating pose, so we won't hold this too long. Just take a breath or two here, ground into the legs. Feel your bodies, lift up through the crown of the head. Look towards the right hand. Now returning to triangle pose. Inhale, straighten your right knee. Exhale, come back to triangle pose. So we were just here a moment ago. We're just coming back into it again and using it as a transition pose to half moon. So use the block if you'd like. Big breath in. Now place your left hand on your hip and start to look towards the floor. As we move towards half moon pose, start by bending your right knee. Slide your block or hand in front of the right foot. Take your back foot a little closer. And then as you press the right foot and hand down, lift your left leg. Yeah. And I like having the block. It actually helps me get a little more length in the bottom waist. Flex your left heel and move your heel in line with your sacrum. Now try to keep the right knee and foot pointing forward, even if you need to bend the knee a little. Lean the top shoulder back and start to extend the left arm up. Now play with your drishti. You want to look down, continue to look down. Otherwise, if you feel pretty good here, look to the side or maybe even up towards the fingers. Beautiful. Take another inhale. Now see if you can land in triangle pose once again. So look down, bend your right leg, place the left foot back, and then slide your hand or block where it was, straighten both knees again. So Trikonasana. Beautiful. Press the feet into the floor. Inhale, stand up. You can leave the block where it is. Come back to warrior two, exhale. Look towards the right fingers. Turn the palm of your right hand up. Inhale, stretch it back and reverse the warrior. Just a little side bend again. Exhale, bring both hands to the floor and spin onto the ball of your back foot. Make your way to plank position. Optional vinyasa or skip it, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, step it through, warrior two on the second side. And just hold here for a few breaths. Good. So again, feel the body. Good. Make sure the left knee and foot are pointing forward. And you do this by rotating your left hip in the hip joint. Press your back thigh even straighter. Look towards your left fingers. Inhale, straighten your left knee. Lift up through the quadriceps. Exhale, triangle pose once again. So use the block if you'd like. Find your shape first. Try not to be in a hurry to move to the next thing. Lean the head back. Look up if you'd like. Inhale. Now from there, take the right hand to the hip. Look down. Start to bend your front knee. Notice if you transition quickly. So one of the qualities of Pitta is quick, fast. Pittas tend to be fast. See if you can slow down. It's almost like you're creating shapes between the shapes. Once you come into your Ardha Chandrasana, flex your right heel straight back as you reach the crown of the head forward. Continue to draw the belly muscles back. Move your tailbone in. And then start to take the top shoulder back. No need to stack the hips here. The right hip can turn down just a little. Now, see where you are. If you want to start to look away from the mat, look to the side or up, go for it. Otherwise, if you feel better, look down. Just stay looking down. All right, one more breath here. Now, take your eyes to the floor again. Land as gracefully as you possibly can in triangle pose. And I understand that that may not be so graceful today. If we just try not to take things too seriously. Press the feet into the floor. Inhale, stand up, arms out. Good. Bend the left knee for warrior two. Sit a little lower. Now turn the palm of the left hand up. Reverse your warrior. So stretch it back. Enjoy it. Exhale, hands to the floor. You decide. Chaturanga, step to plank and lower, or go straight to downward facing dog. So managing your own level of heat and comfort. Good. Take a few breaths here, just settle in, let the eyes and rest on one spot. Good. Continue to feel the floor beneath you as you lift those hips. Okay. All right, inhale, lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. Now as you exhale, step your right foot in between your hands. And now we're going to sit up for pyramid pose. So slide your back foot a little closer and straighten both legs. Now I'm going to grab my two blocks. And I suggest you do the same, especially if it's hard to touch the floor with your hands. Now, to set up for pyramid pose, you want to have the right foot a little more to the right side of your mat. And then to ground your back heel, turn the left toes out slightly. Now square your hips off, and just for an inhale, stretch your arms straight, reach your chest forward, and see if you can start to fold a little bit. Now as you fold, twist the left ribs towards the right ribs some. And keep pressing the back heel down, keep pressing the back thigh straight back, and work the right outer hip back and in. All right. Now we are going to come into a twisting shape here, twisting triangle pose. Now start with your hands on your blocks or the mat on either side of your front foot. Inhale, straighten your elbows again. Now bring your left hand closer to the right foot. Some of us are going to bring the left hand to the outside of the right foot. That's fine too. Place your right hand on the right outer hip and just kind of press the right hip back and in some more. Now keep the spine long. Start to turn the ribs to the right. Now when you start to twist the ribs, your back leg, the leg that's furthest backward, the left leg, is going to want to tip forward. So try not to let it. Lean the top shoulder back by turning the waist from the waist, and then stretch the right arm up towards the ceiling. Yeah. And then lean your chest back a little bit, but not too much. So you want to have your upper body in line with the lower body, but you're revolving the upper body, turning the ribs to the right. You can look up if you'd like. Take another inhale. Now gently lower your hands to blocks or floor and fold forward as you exhale. All right, now inhale, straighten your elbows and lengthen. We're going to do one more shape on this side. Start to bend your right knee, and then walk your hands or blocks in front of your right foot. Moving towards standing splits. So press the right foot down and start to lift your left leg up. Okay. Now see how far forward you can fold here as you stretch your left leg up. Now some of us are going to keep the hands on the block. Some of us can touch the floor. Some of us might play with holding an ankle, your right ankle, the foot that's on the floor, with one hand, or if you want to try balancing, both hands. And it helps to look down towards the floor if you're attempting that. All right. Feel that little wobbling? That's normal. Take another inhale. Now bring your feet to the floor side by side. And just fold forward for a moment. Let the head and the neck relax. All right. Now hands on floor or hands to shin bones or blocks. Straighten your elbows and lengthen your spine. Exhale and fold forward. Press the feet into the floor. Inhale, stand up. So stretch both arms up towards the ceiling. Look up if you'd like. Exhale. Bring your arms by your sides. Mountain pose. Take a nice slow breath in. And an exhale. Press the feet down. Inhale, reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen for Ardha Uttanasana. Good, and then yogi's choice. Step to plank, hop to Chaturanga, or skip the Vinyasa entirely. It's up to you. Point the feet, up dog or cobra. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Now from down dog, let's float the left leg up towards the ceiling, so straight up again. Exhale, place your left foot between the hands. Come into pyramid pose on the second side. So bring your back foot a little closer to the front foot and straighten both legs. How close your feet are kind of depends on a few things. It depends on your flexibility level as well as the length of your legs. If you're quite flexible, I recommend going a little longer on your sticky mat. As well as if you have long legs, you can always use blocks to stack. Try not to have your feet too close. It just doesn't really help a lot. Now straighten your elbows and lengthen your spine. And then from there just fold. Good. And the left knee and foot are still pointing forward. The left outer hip firms back and in. But the right outer hip firms in as well as the top of your right thigh presses straight back. Good. Relax the head. See if you can turn the navel a little closer to the left leg. Okay. Now from here we're going to move into the twist. So start to straighten your elbows again. Inhale, lengthen. Now move your right hand closer to your front foot. Maybe set it to the outside of the front foot. Place your left hand on the left outer hip. Good. Now keep that left hip in place. Don't let it lean out to the side too much. Start to turn the ribs to the left. So twisting Trikonasana, or Parivrita Trikonasana. Now continue to draw the navel in. Keep moving the right thigh back, especially if you have a lot of mobility in the hips. And then stretch the left arm up towards the ceiling. So you want to feel a sense of stability in the areas that tend to move a lot. And you want to create more mobility in the areas that are stiff, which for most of us is the upper back and even the shoulders. And then as you turn the ribs, some of us start to lean the head back and look up towards the ceiling. All right, big inhale. Now as you exhale, bring both hands to floor or blocks and just fold again. Inhale, straighten your elbows. Now bend your front knee. Now set up for that standing split. Walk your hands forward. Blocks underneath them is fine. And lift your back leg up. Now once you lift your back leg up, start to fold over your standing leg. And then see how it feels. Stay here. Some of us place the hands on the floor, walk them a little closer to the left foot. Maybe you hold an ankle with one hand. If you're trying to balance, again, look at the floor. So normally I say drop your head, but for this, looking down will definitely help. Good. You might notice a difference between your ability to balance on one side versus the other. That's it. And just again, just feeling the body, seeing how things are working for you today. All right, one more inhale. And then place the feet on the floor, side by side again. And fold. Fold. Take a few breaths here. Let the head and the neck relax. Oh, shake it, yes and no. All right. Good. Knees and toes pointing forward. Inhale. Straighten your back, so lengthen your spine forward. Exhale. Fold forward. All right. Press the feet down. Stand up. So as you stand, engage the lower belly. Reach the fingers towards the ceiling. And then from there, bring your arms by your sides. Mountain pose. Pause for a moment. Just take it all in. Big inhale. And exhale. Inhale, stretch the arms towards the ceiling. Move, look up if you'd like. Exhale and fold forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, chest forward. Now place your hands on the floor. Just step to plank pose. So step one foot followed by the other. So let's all come to plank pose. Good. Now chin up, look forward. And then come onto your belly through chaturanga. Modify with the knees on the floor, of course. Okay, now once you're on your bellies, point your feet. I'm going to slide the blocks out of the way. I'm not going to need them right now. And then come into a Sphinx pose. So bring your forearms in front of you. Press the forearms into the floor. Lift your chest up. So press the tops of the feet down and try to get all 10 toenails on the floor. That's it. And just kind of doing a few back bends before we start to wind things down. After all the forward bending, it should feel nice. Good. Press the forearms down. Pull the forearms back and apart to lift your chest. All right, big inhale. Now as you exhale, lower yourself to the floor and bring your arms by your sides. Okay. Now, similar to what we did in the tabletop pose where we alternated arms and legs, that extended table, we're going to do the same thing here. Alternated arms and legs in like an extended locust pose. So we'll start slow and then we'll do a few more with a flow. So bring your forehead to the floor. Now on your inhale, reach your left arm forward, lift your left arm in your head, and float your right leg off the floor. So your left arm in your head and your right arm are lifted. Now work the right inner thigh up. Take an inhale. Now as you exhale, bring everything back to the way it was, and either lower the forehead or lower one of your cheeks. Now let's switch sides. Take your right arm forward and lift your left leg. And lift your head. And when you reach the right arm forward, turn the palm in. Reach your left toe straight back like someone's pulling your foot back. Keep the neck long. Big inhale. All right, now let it go again. Either forward to the floor or the opposite cheek down. All right, let's do this with the breath. Inhale, reach your left arm and right leg off the floor. Look towards your fingers. Good. Now exhale, lower everything down. Inhale, right arm, left leg, extend. And then exhale, lower everything down. Good. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale, lower. One more on each side. Inhale, extend. And just focus on length more so than height. Exhale and lower. Inhale, right arm, left leg. And exhale and lower. All right. Now keep your arms where they are, but see if you can turn the palms of your hands to the floor now. So the thumbs are pointing out. Now bring your forehead to the floor and kind of reset the legs. So the legs are neutral, the toes are reaching straight back. Now keep the hands on the floor for now and just start to lift your head and your chest. Keep the hands on the floor, lift your legs up. Good. And you don't have to be very high here. Reach the head forward, reach your toes back, and keep pressing the pubic bone into the floor. Now start to float your arms up. And you can keep the arms by the sides. If you really enjoy the interlace, you can take that variation. Otherwise, just reach the fingers towards the feet. Keep reaching the head forward. Big inhale. All right, now relax for a moment and just turn the right cheek to the floor. Let the shoulders soften down. Take a nice slow inhale and a slow exhale. Okay. Now, take both arms forward. And as you extend the arms forward, turn the palms of your hands to face one another. And keep your arms parallel, about shoulder distance, or if you need to, a little wider. So the thumbs face up, the pinky sides of your hands are pressing into the floor. Now before lifting, just reach your arms forward and reach your legs back. Grow longer. And then from there, grow so long, try to lift your lower belly a little as you lift your arms and your legs and everything that you can off the floor. And I find this pose to be super challenging. It's hard to hold it. So if you're really struggling here, do a little less maybe. Let yourself soften a little bit more. Good, you're doing enough, I promise. Take another inhale. Okay, now let everything relax and turn the opposite cheek to the mat. And feel this kind of widening along the glutes area and even the lower back. The shoulder blades kind of soften and widen apart. Okay. Good, now bring your hands back under the shoulders. And then from there, slide the hands back just a little bit. We're going to do one more back bend. Keep the hands on the floor and lift your head and chest for cobra. Keep the cobra low. Now with your hands flat, feel like you try to pull your chest forward and float your legs up. So this is a variation of locust pose. Keep pointing the feet straight back. I actually feel this feels really good to me in my lower back. It's very strengthening. Pull yourself forward and lift the sternum. All right, now keep the chest lifted. Bring the tops of the feet on the floor. And then see if you can lift a little higher for cobra or upward facing dog. Lift the heart. And then from there, mindfully transition back to downward facing dog. And then once you're in your down dog, take a slow breath in and a slow exhale. All right, bring your knees to the mat. Now we're going to set up for hero's pose, Virasana. There's a couple of different ways to do this, and I'm going to recommend using blocks and maybe even your blanket. I'm going to give you some options. So if your knees are tight, your hip flexors are tight, you're going to take a block and set it between your ankle bones. Squeeze your ankles around your blocks and sit down on the block, okay? You can do this with one or even two blocks to add a little bit height. And then you can stay here, right? You can let your hands rest on your legs. You can even lean back a little bit too. So this is kind of a nice quad stretch, especially after all the forward folds. This should feel pretty good, all right? If you have no problem sitting on the floor between your heels, it doesn't bother your knees, doesn't hurt your ankles, then you can move the blocks out of the way, but keep them handy for the next thing. And just kind of sit on the floor. Now the key is with this is to keep the toes pointing straight back, right? And your legs stay parallel. Now this might be just enough right here. This could be good, okay? Some of us are going to take the blocks behind us. I'm going to set one at the medium height and one at the high height behind me. And sometimes I'll do this with the legs extended forward, this kind of like a gentle back bend. If you're comfortable with this, you can start to lie down on your block. So bring the bottom tips of the shoulder blades on the first block. Oops. And then the back of your head will rest on the second block, okay? And we're just going to stay here for a few breaths. Now, I want to make sure, Pitta types tend to push themselves beyond their limits, and they tend to put themselves in painful positions that aren't necessary. So notice if you're doing that. Notice if you're sitting on the floor because you think you have to, even though your knees are screaming at you right now. So, give yourself a little bit of a break. Give yourself some space. Use a block, and that way you can hang out in the pose a little longer, and you actually start to open things up a little more. Now, if lying on your back with nothing underneath you is what you practice regularly, then you can come into full Supta Virasana, or lying down hero's pose. And then just breathe here for a moment. Good. Let the shoulders drop. Good. If you're sitting more upright, press the shoulders back a little bit more. Good. Good. Sometimes it's hard to close the eyes. So if you want to keep the eyes open, just let the eyelids be a little soft. Or close them. Okay. Now to come out of this pose, if you're on your back, bring your forearms to the floor, or if you're on your blocks, right? And just start to lift your head, press your elbows down and lift yourself up. If you're already upright, then you're there. You don't need anything else. If you want to stay longer, of course you can stay longer. Otherwise, just crawl forward onto your hands and your knees for a moment. Good. And then once you're on your hands and your knees, especially if you were all the way back and your hips were all the way on the floor, just stretch one leg back, keep the foot on the floor. Yeah, and just give the ankle a little circle, a little release. Good. And then you'll do the same thing on the second side. So extend the right leg back, take a little circle with the ankle. Ooh, all right. Good. And then from there, bring both knees to the floor and just come to a seat from here. So shift your hips and feet to opposite directions. Sit down. Good. And then the blocks you may use just depends. Some of us are going to use a blanket as well. So for these seated poses, especially if you're a little tighter in the hips, it's nice to have a little padding under the hips. Okay, so it'll just add to the effectiveness of the stretch. So let's come into Baddha Konasana. Start with the feet together and let the knees kind of open and drop down to the floor. Now, I'm pretty tight in the hips in this position for some reason. Even though with my legs straight, it's a whole other ballgame. So it has something to do with the knees. It doesn't have to do with the level of flexibility. It's just the way my bones align. So, it's fine. Hands stay on the floor. Behind you, lift your chest and lean forward a little bit. This could be enough. Remember, always option to prop your hips. Some of us are going to hold the feet and pull ourselves a little bit closer to the floor. Good. And just try to be content with where you're at in this moment, right? So, as you fold, rather than focusing on the shape and having the perfect shape and being the perfect yogi, focus on the sensations, right? See if you can almost channel your breath into those areas that feel sticky. Now, if you're folding, inhale, slowly come up. Now, keep your left heel kind of close to you, but extend your right leg out to the right. So the right leg is straight at a diagonal to the right, and then move your left foot a little closer. Okay. Now, this is where some of us might use blocks. So if you're a little more on the tight side, you can rest your hand on a block, your right hand on the block, on the inside of your leg. Turn your ribs to the left. Extend your left arm up and lean gently to the right. Okay? You can rest your elbow on the block. Some of us don't need the block. hand on the floor, forearm to the floor. Okay? Some of us have a little more range of motion. If that's the case, you can reach and grab your right foot with your right hand, your heel, and then take a hold of the outer edge of your right foot with your left hand. It's such a beautiful side stretch this is. Turn the ribs to the ceiling and keep anchoring your left sitting bone. Good. And again, I encourage you, especially if you want to have a practice that lasts a long time, create longevity in the practice, don't force so much, right? Good. Make sure that you're balancing the force with surrender. And then you create a nice kind of strong but gentle class. All right. Now from there, start to slowly come up. And then let's take the second side. So if you use blocks, you just kind of place it on the other side. Bring your right heel in. Extend your left leg out to the left. All right. Now see where you're at. Left hand to block, hand to floor, elbow to block or floor. Turn the ribs towards the right first. And then take the right arm up and lean over towards the left leg. Good. And then just breathe here. Good. And one thing too is try to let go of the expectations in your practice, because the practice changes day to day. That's part of the kind of the fun, adventurous part of the yoga class. You never know what to expect. Some days maybe you're not feeling so great, maybe you're a little stiffer for whatever reason, so you kind of, you take it for what it is. But then there are those days that you feel a lot stronger, those days where you nail a posture that you've been working towards for a long time. So it's all good. Take a few more breaths. Keep anchoring the right sitting bone as you extend with the right arm. Good. Now from there, slowly come all the way up. Okay. And then extend the right leg out to the right. So we're going to take a wide-legged forward fold shape next. So here's the situation. If you're kind of rounding in the lower back, prop your hips on your blanket. You can also keep your hands on the floor behind you and just keep the chest a little more vertical or lean forward slightly. Some of us can take the hands in front of us and fold a lot more. Good. Now, if you get close enough to the floor, you might be able to rest your forehead on block or your hands or even the floor. Good. And try to keep your knees and toes pointing up as you tip the pelvis forward. Good. Just take a few more slow breaths. Okay. Now slowly walk your hands back, sit up tall. Good. Now bring your legs together and extend your legs out in front of you. And same thing here. So once you're here, prop the hips if you like, especially if you're leaning back. I like to take my hands and grab like that flesh of the hips and kind of slide them out of the way a little bit more. Place the hands on the floor, sit up nice and tall. Good. And then from there, float the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, lean forward and fold. Catch your feet. Good. Some of us use a block in front of the feet. Some of us use a towel or a strap, or just don't worry about holding the feet. Good. You can always put a little bend to the knees, so it's a little easier to tip the pelvis forward. You might actually feel more in the hamstrings. Good. Good. And continue to focus on your breathing again, just feeling that kind of nice breath of fresh air entering. Good. And whatever doesn't serve, whatever excess heat you're feeling, let it go with the exhale. Okay. All right, now from there, inhale, slowly rise. And then lie down on your back. Let's take a couple of dynamic bridge poses before we move to our final shoulder stand, twist, and eventually Shavasana. So place your feet on the floor. When you're lying on your back, place the feet on the floor, feet about hips distance. Let the back of your head rest on the floor. And just let your arms relax by your sides. Now press the feet into the mat. On your next inhale, lift your hips up and reach the arms all the way up towards the ceiling and continue with the arms reaching overhead. Good. Now as you exhale, lower the hips and lower your arms at the same time. And do that again. So press the feet down, lift your hips up. We try to keep the legs parallel. Arms up and back. And then exhale, hips and arms lower at the same time. Just try 3 more. Feet down, lift the hips, take the arms back again. And exhale, hips down, arms by your sides. Oh. Inhale, lift everything up, feet press down though. Exhale and lower. Last one. Inhale, lift, arms stretch overhead. And exhale, go ahead and lower. Now keep your arms by your sides. And if you need to walk the feet in a little bit, sometimes the feet slide when we do that. Ground through the feet, lift your hips up and take a bridge pose. Interlace your fingers underneath you, snuggle the arms towards each other. Good, and then just press the forearms and the feet into the floor. Lengthen the flesh of the buttocks forward and keep the legs parallel. So it helps to ground through the inner foot a little more and roll the inner thighs into the floor. Good, but keep feeling like you're trying to bring your heels together so the knees don't knock in. All right. Take another inhale. Nice. Now move your arms out of the way and gently lower your hips to the floor. All right. Good. Take the feet a little wider apart. Bring your knees together. Open your arms out to the sides and just windshield wiper your legs a few times. Just back and forth, back and forth. Feels nice on the lower back. Okay. Now I'm going to give you the options for shoulder stand. If you have a wall nearby, you can take Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall, right? So I'll use this bookshelf as an example. Just kind of slide towards the wall, turn around so that the backs of your legs are facing the wall, and you stretch your legs up. And you know, the bookshelf actually works not too bad. Let your arms open out to the side. This is a lovely pose to take whenever you're feeling the kind of the sense of aggravation in your body, a little bit too, hot-headed as they call it, and just breathe here for a few moments, okay? The other option, if you want to take a supported bridge pose, and then lift the legs up that way, press the feet into the floor, lift your hips, and slide the block under your sacrum. The height is usually dependent on how it feels. I like to do medium height. Low height is also kind of nice. And then from there, bring your knees towards you. Keep your lower back on your blocks though, and then extend the legs straight up. And this is also a really nice cooling posture, okay? Then you'll breathe here for a little bit. If shoulder stand is what you want to do, I highly recommend using a blanket and taking the ponytails out of the way like I just did. So you're gonna grab your blanket or a towel and fold it kind of like a rectangle. And you know, these blankets, if you have one of these, there's a fringy side and there's a smooth side. So it's important to have the fringy side kind of facing you when you place it on the floor, and the smooth side kind of away from you. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the bottom part of the mat and I'm going to fold it over the blanket like so. Now to set up for this, lie on your back and rest your upper back and the backs of the shoulders on your blanket. Give yourself a little space between the top of the shoulder and the edge of the blanket, because when you move to plow, you shift back a little. And then the back of your head rests on your mat. So the head is below the blanket, so it's lower. So you feel a little bit of lift in the neck. Now place your feet on the floor and set up like you're coming into a bridge pose. But instead of coming into bridge pose, bring your hands by your sides and then swing your legs overhead. See if you can come into plow pose. Now once you're in the plow pose, bring your arms towards one another underneath you and bring your hands towards your mid or even your upper back a little bit more. So crawl your hands up Good. Now, once you get to this position, I want you to just look straight up. So don't let your head turn from side to side. And then take your legs up towards the ceiling one at a time or both at a time. Good. And then let's see if we can be here for about 2 minutes. I don't have my watch me, but I'm just gonna guess. Good. 2 minutes about, maybe plus or minus. Good. So when you're in this position, you want to focus your eyes. There's a tendency for pittas to look up and to have the eyes wide open. So let the eyes be a little softer and look more towards your belly. Good. And, you're pressing your thighs back and shifting the pelvis kind of over the chest. Good. That's it. And really focus on your breathing. So the eyes are soft. Good. Every now and then you can start to walk your hands up and back a little bit more. Good. Of course, if you need to come down early, if your neck is starting to bother you, if you're starting to feel dizzy, just come back to plow and rest in on your back. Or even a happy baby. Otherwise, just stay here. We're about a minute in, so let's try for one more minute. Good. There's something about this posture, while I'm in it, after all these years, it still feels a little bit intense, but I appreciate the posture once I come out of it, because I find that whenever I do this pose and I incorporate it into my practice, I feel calmer the rest of the day. Yeah. It has something to do with the Jalandhar Bandha, or this kind of tucking of the chin, as well as the inversion that's very calming on the nervous system, especially those that we can hold. Okay. I'm going to guess that was about 2 minutes. If you want to stay longer, go for it. Otherwise, start to lower the feet towards the floor behind you. And see if you can hang out and plow for a moment. So once your feet come to the floor, just stay there. So this is actually a really deep forward fold. You can interlace your fingers and stretch the arms again, like you would in a bridge pose. Good. Some of us stay here. Some of us reach and grab a hold of your feet. And it's almost like you're coming into a forward fold on your back. Some of us like to take the feet a little wider and bend the knees around the ears. So you kind of turn into this little compact ball. But eventually, you're going to start to come onto your backs again. So when you're ready, it's nice to use your arms as brakes and lower slowly, slowly, slowly. If you're doing another version of shoulder stand, start to make your way out of it again. Excuse me. And then meet on your back. Okay. Now, one of the nice things about using the blanket is now you can take a restorative fish pose. So slide your shoulder blades off your blanket and bend your elbows like gold post arms with the backs of your hands on the floor. Feet can be on the mat or legs can straighten. If you don't have a blanket underneath you, then you can do the same shape without the blanket. It feels good. Good. Or if you're familiar with fish pose and that's where you want to go right now, go for it. Okay, good. Now place your feet on the floor again. And if you're on the blanket, just roll to your side, move your blanket out of the way, and come onto your back again. And have your blanket close to you, fold it in half again. So fold it so it's a little bit of a thinner, kind of almost stick of gum shape. Lie on your back and hug both knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. All right. Now let's take a spinal twist. Lower your knees to your left and extend your right arm over to the right. Turn the palm of your right hand up and relax your right shoulder. You can even turn the head towards the right and close your eyes. Take a few slow breaths here. Good. And again, I encourage you to really start to let things get soft. So let the breath be a little slower, a little longer. Okay. Nice. Now come onto your backs again. And drop your knees to the right. Take your left arm to the left, turn the palm of your left hand up, and look towards the left arm. So same thing. Notice if your body feels a little bit cooler. And if your mental attitude feels a little gentler. A little softer. Come onto your backs again. And let's make our way to Shavasana. So what I would recommend is to take the blanket and slide it underneath the back of your head like a little pillow. Of course, if you want to have a blanket under your knees for a little support, maybe close your eyes and cover them with something. Let your arms just rest by your sides and turn the palms of your hands to face forward, or to face the ceiling rather. Relax the shoulders. Let your mouth relax too. And close your eyes. And just kind of let go of the body for a moment. You might notice that there's a whole lot of things going on in the mind. I'm going to say just run with it. Let the mind wander as it wants to wander. But rather than trying to figure out all the thoughts or analyze, see if you can almost observe those thoughts like you're watching a movie. Like they're not your thoughts. Now slowly begin to deepen your breath. Gently start to wiggle the fingers and toes and your wrists and your ankles. Stretch your legs and arms in opposite directions. And then bring the feet to the mat and roll over to your right side and just pause in a fetal position. You use your right arm like a pillow. And gently begin to make your way into a comfortable seat. And I'm going to go ahead and support my hips on this blanket. You can do the same or use one of the blocks. Just make sure that you're comfortable. Cross your legs at your ankles or your shin bones, or even sit on your heels if you prefer. And then let your hands rest on your lap, palms up or down. So we're going to do a couple of pranayama practices. One is called Satali Pranayama. It's the breath technique where you fold your tongue in half and you inhale through the fold and then you exhale just through the nose. So, Now, if you can't fold the tongue that way, you're going to simply place the tip of your tongue on the roof of the mouth. Actually, you won't do that. You'll purse your lips. Like make like a little hole with your lips, and you'll inhale through the hole. Like you're sipping your breath through a straw, literally. And then you'll seal your lips closed as you exhale. Okay? Now, the second breath technique that we're going to do is simply like Ujjayi Pranayama. But you're going to place, this is what I meant to say earlier, you're going to place the tip of your tongue right where the roof of your mouth and your teeth meet. Okay? And that's also a very cooling way to breathe. So again, we're trying to cool the body down. And these are great breath techniques to do on their own as well. So if you can't have time to practice, but you're feeling aggravated, you're feeling overheated, you can just do this, and this should definitely help. So rest your hands on your knees, palms up or down, sit up tall, let the shoulders drop and close your eyes. And now just start taking a nice slow breath in through your nose, and then exhale through the nose. Good. Now either purse your lips or fold your tongue and inhale through the mouth with the lips pursed or tongue folded. Now close your mouth and exhale slow. Now do that again. Either fold your tongue or purse your lips, inhale. Close your mouth and exhale. We'll do it one more time. Inhale through the fold of the tongue or the mouth with the lips pursed. And exhale. Now take a recovery breath or two if you need to swallow a couple of times. Now see if you can place the tip of your tongue right where the roof of your mouth and the backs of your teeth meet. And by doing so, your jaw automatically relaxes, the teeth kind of separate a little bit, and that's good. Good. And if you've never done this little tongue to the teeth and roof of the mouth thing, it might feel a little weird at first. Just kind of stick with it a little bit longer. And then see if you can just take real even, smooth breaths in and out through the nose. And you don't even have to create that whispering sound. So you can let go of the ujjayi. Just let yourself sit with this balanced breathing. Notice the sounds around you. Notice that they tend to have a more gentle quality to them. Feel the air around you. Notice if it feels a little bit cooler maybe. And notice your mental attitude, especially if when you stepped on your yoga mat today, you felt a little bit angry, triggered by something. See if that kind of mental space softened as well. Allow your tongue to relax once again. And just take a few more deep breaths. When you're ready to, start to gently blink your eyes open towards the ground, towards the floor. and gradually take in the room. I hope you enjoyed the practice today. I enjoy it. I've loved learning about Ayurveda and sharing my knowledge with you. In a few months, as we get into the kind of the cooler, windier fall season, we'll move towards what's called Vata season, and I'll share a practice for that. Winter will be Kapha season, and I'll share a practice for that at some point as well. Bring your hands together and just let your head bow for a moment and honor your space, your practice, your dedication. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks. Namaste.